Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Chicago Cubs. It's the Baby It's Hot Outside edition. By whatever means necessary, you want to stay near water, hydrated. You want to stay hydrated on a hot day. The sun is beaming down, and the Mets are trying to stay hot going to the All-Star break. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the Cubs in this second game of a three-game series. Chicago won last night 8-7, but the one constant for the Mets as they head toward the All-Star break that begins after tomorrow's game has been the play of David Wright. Their de facto captain started the season hot, and he has stayed hot April through July.
Well, I think, he had the pinky issue early. He played with the bad pinky, and I think that set the table for the Mets. He leads by example all year long, plays every day. Third in hitting. Jose Reyes last year at this point in the season with the All-Star break was hitting .354, the highest ever by a Met. Well, David Wright is at .353. With a couple hits tonight, he can go ahead of Jose and get that record. He's in every offensive category in the top 10, but one, and the one that I like the most. He's not in the home run top 10, and he's being just as productive. He has scored a lot of runs and driven in a lot of runs, and he has been the man. You can count on him. The manager always looks for one guy in the lineup that he can put on the lineup card every day, and that's David Wright.
And then throw in the stuff you can't quantify. His defense may be the best it's ever been, and his leadership just keeps getting more and more important.
Well, I can't say enough for him. He's had some terrific at-bats of late. He had a little bit of the great start, and he had a little bit of a lull, and now he's caught fire again. He has been on fire and setting the example on the field. I can't say enough for that when you have a young team here.
Well, the Mets have also been living on great starting pitching this season. Now, the last 2 days, their co-aces, R.A. Dickey and Johan Santana, have had a rough go, so Dylan G tries to pick up the slack.
Well, Dylan G hasn't won about 4 of his last 5 starts. He's lost, so he hasn't pitched badly. He didn't pitch well against his Cub team the last time on the road. But all in all, Dylan, for your number 5 starter, he comes out there and gives you a quality start every day.
Jeff Samardzija, the hard-throwing right-hander, goes to the Cubs. The Mets beat him up in Chicago, but he bounced back with a good start in Atlanta.
Well, I believe that was that 17, the one-ball game with the wind blowing out. It's tough to pitch there. I don't care who you are when the wind is blowing out. He's a hard thrower, the Notre Dame kid. Threw more split fingers his last time out. Had an 0-4 June. He got off to a good start in July with a nice win his last time out.
So it's the Mets and the Cubs as the temperature approaches triple digits in the big city. Mets and Cubs, all the action coming your way this afternoon on SNY. By AT&T, rethink possible. By Cadillac. By New York State, discover what you love. Plan your vacation now. By Cholula Hot Sauce, the flavorful hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap. By Geico. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Hitting the road, take the Mets with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Here's your Mets' upcoming schedule. You can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. After tomorrow, a big hole in the schedule for the All-Star break. And then the Mets go to Atlanta and Washington to come out of the break. The plan now is for Santana, Dickey, and Neese to pitch that series in Atlanta. That starts Friday night, right after the All-Star break. This afternoon, it's the Mets and Cubs. Lots of hydration going to be going on this afternoon as they try and stay cool on a hot day in New York. First pitch coming right up.
Let's play two.
Brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Visit the concession stands behind sections 137 and 431 at Citi Field to try the all-new flamethrower tenders and the Chipotle chicken sandwich. Cholula Hot Sauce, the flavorful hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap. Let's go Mets indeed. Jeff Samardzija getting ready to pitch for the Cubs this afternoon. Here's his teammates who will try to support him. Your Ford Cubs starting lineup. The New Jersey product, David DeJesus, in the lineup against the right-hander today, as well as both the Cubs All-Stars, Starlin Castro and Brian LaHair, both of whom did not start last night. And right there in the middle, the red-hot Anthony Rizzo, who's played 10 games since coming up to the Cubs and has really given them a spark. They've now won 8 of their last 11 games. Terry Collins hoping his team can shake off what has been a malaise against the worst teams in the National League. There are 3 major league teams that have winning percentages under .400. The Cubs, the Rockies, and the Astros. And the Mets are a combined 3-7 against the 3 worst teams in baseball.
Well, you know, we addressed it last night, Gare, in the Open about the importance of, after that big emotional win against the Phillies, to take the series here, not to have a letdown. And, you know, it's just so emblematic of a young team. You get up from the big games and you get that emotional high and euphoric win, which that win was certainly. And you kind of get the wind out of you, not knocked out of your sails. And it takes 48 hours to get it back. And it's the veteran teams, they just keep it right there and keep moving forward, one step at a time, one game at a time.
Dylan G trying to bounce back from a loss in which his defense deserted him in Los Angeles Sunday night.
And the Lexus Metropolitan defense. And Valdespin, I tell you what, got to find a spot for him to play. He has been swinging the bat. He's out in left field. He's not really an outfielder. They had him work on outfield, particularly center field in spring training, if you recall, when Torres got hurt. And they had issues with center field. Neuenhuis wasn't in the picture then. He was also hurt. But he can swing the bat. He provides the upper part of that lineup with some speed, and it was something the Mets lack. And I tell you what, he's got a big future in front of him.
Well, Valdespin with a home run coming off the bench in the game last night. And so shoehorned into the lineup today. That's to be getting Jason Bay back from the disabled list. If not in the first series in Atlanta, certainly for that second series in Washington, that's the plan. And then Terry Collins will have more decisions to make about his outfield on a day-to-day basis. David DeJesus will lead off for the Cubs. DeJesus, who has spent his entire career in the American League before this year, grew up in Jersey, went to Manalapan High School, and then on to Rutgers. He's had a nice career, very underrated player. David Wright just getting some sunglasses, just passed behind Dylan G.
Well, that's a
heading
good,
back to his position.
That's a good sign. We've got, you know, obviously everybody knows about the threatening weather. That cold front going to come down and cool things off finally, but that's going to be, there's thunderstorms in front of it.
Cool is okay. Thunderstorms, not so okay.
Nope.
DeJesus hitting at 272. Dylan G ready to go on a hot afternoon in New York, and he throws a fastball for a strike, and we're underway. It'll be DeJesus, then Starlin Castro and Anthony Rizzo for the Cubs in the opening inning. DeJesus right on top of the plate from the left side, and he takes a curveball from G that misses. A ball and a strike. There's your umpiring crew for today. Paul Nerd has the plate. Doug Eddings at first. The crew chief Dan DeMuth out at second. And Angel Campos did a nice job behind the plate last night, working at third. And DeJesus hits one out to center field, chasing Neuenhuis back. And he gets there to run it down for the first out of the day. So one center fielder retires the other. DeJesus is out, and here's Starlin Castro. For the first time all year, he didn't start in yesterday's game, but came off the bench and went 1 for 2. Castro going to his second All-Star game this year at the tender age of 22.
You know, I read in the Post today that Josh Tolley had said we had to go 5-1 on the homestand to keep the ball rolling, and I just, you know, in what I said earlier about the young players, it's the most important thing. It's important for the veteran to go to Tolley and say, don't ever get caught in that trap. You come home to a homestand or on a road trip. Writers always love to ask you, well, what do we have to do, your team have to do on this 6-10 day road trip? Well, you never want to fall into that trap. It's always the most important game is the game today.
Castro lines one past Tejada, and he's got the first hit of the day. Well, the problem is if you say we need to go 5-1 on the homestand and you're now 2-2, where do you go from there?
Well, the article said, well, they got to go 4-2 now and win the next 2. So you just never want to get caught in that trap. I know that, you know, it's exuberance, it's youthful exuberance, and you just want it. So many cliche things in this game, but there's just no other way to state it. You can't worry about anybody else. You only take care of yourself, and the most important game of it is the game today.
Well, here is the impressive rookie Anthony Rizzo, 10 games deep into his big league season, putting up very impressive numbers. Had the big hit last night in a 2-2 game against Johan Santana. Hit a 3-run homer in the 5th inning that gave the Cubs the lead for good. And look at that. First time a left-handed rookie has ever hit a home run against Santana.
Wow. Well, he's got a nice swing. That is for sure. And I like the fact that he goes the other way, too. And he's a big, highly touted prospect. So he's impressed thus far.
4 for 5 last night. Now hitting at .375. And what's remarkable to me is the way over the course of last winter that Rizzo was able to completely retool his batting stance. I mean, when he came up with the Padres last year, he was a hands held high kind of guy, and he's gone completely the other way.
Well, everybody.
Castro runs. Toley's throw right on the money, and Castro is out. Perfect throw by Josh Toley for the second out.
Good footwork. Good throw. Nails him. It took that kind of throw, too. That throws around 4 feet higher, getting under the tag.
Castro has 16 steals, but he's now been caught 10 times. Not a very good percentage. 2 out and nobody on. And Rizzo takes a fastball for a strike, 1-2. Rizzo went 2 for 3 against G when G faced the Cubs a week and a half ago. Soriano would be next. G has lost 4 of his last 5 starts, and the one in Chicago was really the only one he didn't pitch well. He gave up 4 runs and 9 hits over 5 innings. Never really found his rhythm in that game. Reached for and looped into shallow center, and on comes Nieuwenhuis to call and catch. Side retired. A hit, but Toley's throw nails Castro, and the Mets come up with no score. And all the left-handed bats back in there today. 6 left-hand bats in all. Daniel Murphy's been hot with the bat. Nick Wright's been hot all year. And Terry Collins will send that unit out against the former Notre Dame footballer Jeff Samardzija.
Well, Samardzija 6-7 on the year with an ERA 4.77. This is his 17th start of the season. First full year as a starter.
Ruben Tejada leads things off. Ruben went hitless last night, but he did walk twice and scored 2 runs, and he takes a strike. And since coming back from the disabled list 12 games ago, Ruben is hitting a very solid .360. See that on base percentage for the season up over .380 now. And Rubin trying to dump one into shallow right, but on comes LaHare to make the catch. LaHare playing shallow. There's your first out.
And the Coors Light, excuse me, Cub defense. Cubs made a lot of errors in the field. 58 errors as a team and 13 for the season. That's a tad too much for a shortstop. As Castro, the knock on him is he gets a little bit casual out there with his glove. Gets some lapses in concentration. But he's a fine young player.
Here's Daniel Murphy. Appeared as a pinch hitter last night and drew a walk, and he takes off the plate from Samardzija. Well, the Mets picked the right day to face Samardzija when they faced him in Chicago 10 days ago. Wind was blowing out, and Murphy, among others, took advantage, hit a home run off him. Ball and a strike.
It was a nice day to face Nice, too.
Although Nice did a much better job keeping the ball on the ground.
Yes, he did. Very impressive job.
David Wright waiting on deck. Well, Samardzija, to his credit, bounced back from that outing in which he gave up 9 runs by pitching a gem in Atlanta on Monday night. Gave up just 1 run and 4 hits, struck out 11 in 7 innings. Keeps that fastball away from Murphy, 1 and 2. And you mentioned he threw his splitter more in that game. For the season, Samardzija averaging 17% splitters. That start, 36%. There's the splitter to strike out Murphy for the second out.
I'll tell you what, that splitter has saved more careers. It is such an effective weapon, and you can see this rotation of the ball and the late sink. As a hitter, you can't read it. It has a fastball read to it, so it's tough.
So David Wright bats with 2 out and nobody on. David went 1 for 4 last night, hitting at .353, third in the National League. Tied for third in RBIs with 59. Tied for second in doubles with 27. Having one of the best first halves in Mets history.
5-game hitting streak currently.
And he takes a strike on the outside edge, 1-1. David's got 27 doubles. That's 1 shy of the Mets club record for doubles at the All-Star break. Carlos Beltran had 28.
He's just driven in a ton of runs lately, too.
2-1 to David with Ike Davis on deck. And the approach has stayed the same from day 1 until now. He's hit 11 home runs, which is nice, but the focus has very much been on putting the ball in play, and he has done that.
If he drives in a run today, he's at the All-Star break with 60 RBIs. He's going to has over 50 runs scored. That's what you look at, and he's doing it with 11 home runs. Okay, so he hits 20.
And that's up and in for ball 4. So Wright is on with a 2-out walk. So the Mets have their first base runner against Samardzija, who's averaged about 3.3 walks per 9 innings. And now Ike Davis came off the bench last night in the 9th inning when the Mets put together a 3-run rally and came up a run shy. Davis got them within a run with a 2-run base hit. 26 RBIs in his last 23 games now for Davis.
You just don't know what you're going to get from Mike. You think he's ready to pop out of it, and he still has issues with a lot of swaying back and forth. He gets out in front, swings at bad pitches. And been a very effective pinch hitter this year. Coming off the bench, he got a big pinch hit last night in the 9th inning. As stated, he had the 2 RBIs with the bases loaded.
And the splitter misses. A ball and a strike to Davis with Lucas Duda waiting on deck. Mets and Cubs playing for the 5th time this year, so Chicago's taken 3 of the first 4. They are something of a revitalized team right about now. Here goes Wright, and no throw by Clevenger, and David has a stolen base, his 9th of the year.
Good pitch to steal on. Splits a splitter. David gets a great jump.
So he's in scoring position with 2 out. A 2-1 count to Davis, who homered against Samardzija in Chicago. A 3-run shot. And now Samardzija behind in the count for the 2nd straight hitter.
This is where Samardzija gets in trouble. 35 walks in 94 1/3. So he's around the plate, but he falls behind.
In the start against the Mets in Chicago, he walked 4 in 4 1/3. And of course, the Mets are more patient than most teams. And Davis gets under one to right field. Should be easy for LaHair. And he puts it away to end the inning. So a walk and 1 left. After 1 at Citi Field, Mets and Cubs, no score. Field. Secure access to buy 2013 All-Star Event tickets by becoming a 2012 season ticket holder, 40-game plan holder, or 15-game pack holder by this Tuesday. Get to Mets.com/all-star-info today for more information. Alfonso Soriano leads off the 2nd inning and takes a curveball from G up and away. Soriano 2 hits last night, hitting a .269 for the year. Still has more home runs than anybody in the majors since the 15th of May. He had not hit a single one before May 15th, and he's hit 15 home runs since. It's Soriano, Brian LaHair, and Steve Clevenger coming up for the Cubs in the 2nd. Weak ground ball out to Tejada, and the overhand throw easily gets Soriano for the 1st down. So 1 out and nobody on. In between innings, Jeff Samardzija talking to Chris Bosio, the Cubs pitching coach.
Chris Bosio, of course, pitched more than a few years with the Brewers.
I wonder what would prompt that kind of intense conversation after the 1st inning, and a successful 1st inning to boot.
Well, you got a young pitcher out there, 1st year starting. Maybe he saw something mechanical. Or something he's doing right, that he's giving him positive reinforcement. Got some serious moss working, I'll tell you that.
Brian LaHair behind the count 0-2. LaHair going to the All-Star game. 29 years old, getting a chance to play regularly for the first time. And G throws the fastball out of the strike zone. LaHair got off to a great start this year, and that's why the players voted him into the game. On May 15th, he was hitting .361 with 10 home runs. But since then, just .220 with 4 home runs. And he gets him on a fastball. G strikes out LaHair for the second out of the inning.
Well, there's always going to be some. I mean, I'm not taking anything away for the year that he's having. It's great. Congratulations, you're in the All-Star game. He lost his grip right there. But the 30 RBI and 14 home runs, my goodness, that's, you know, if you double that, that's 28 home runs and only 60 RBI. So it's a lot of solo shots.
Well, the hidden stat on LaHair is Steve Clevenger takes a curveball. Ball 1. LaHair hitting .161 with runners in scoring position. And he can't hit lefties. He's 3 for 40 against lefties. So he's basically a platoon player at this point who hasn't driven in runs at a power position, and he's going to the All-Star game.
Do you think, Gary, that the commissioner's office is ever going to go back to alternate years American National League? I don't think you're going to have anything like we had the one All-Star game that prompted all this. Whoever wins the game has the home field advantage. I don't think you're going to have guys getting on jets anymore going to the ESPYs.
Keith, the thing is, they want to say that the game matters, but the game isn't managed like the game matters. If the game mattered, you keep the best players in the game for most of the game. Instead, you got 34-man rosters, and you're using just about everybody. So obviously the game is not being played as though it matters. So it's kind of, you know what I mean?
I understand.
There's a disconnect there.
There is. And, you know, the NBA basketball game, they don't play any defense. It's all up and down the floor. I just think it should go back alternate. Whether it's or the team. How do you judge in a strike 3? How do you judge one league to the other if a team has a better record than the weaker league? You know, so I like the alternate years.
Clevenger down looking. G with back-to-back strikeouts. Middle of the second. Mets and Cubs, no score. Mets top-tier pitching prospect Zach Wheeler, plus find out what a lifelong Mets fan does to keep the players looking good on Mets Weekly, presented by WB Mason. New episode Sunday at 6, only on SNY. Lucas Duda takes ball 1. By the way, Zach Wheeler, one of 2 Mets prospects who will be playing in the Futures game, which will be held tomorrow. The other is Wilmer Flores, who's having a terrific year at Binghamton.
Well, you know what? I haven't heard in a long time this kind of, minor league stuff. Good players down there, and that's a positive if you're a Met fan. For the Met organization, you got to build from within.
Well, all you have to do is look at the team on the field for the Mets today. They have an entire lineup of homegrown players. All 9 players in the lineup for the Mets were drafted or signed and nurtured in the Mets organization. It's the second time it's happened this year. It happened in a game earlier this season that John Neese pitched with these same 8 position players, and it only had happened 2 times before in Mets history, back in 1971. So that is a tribute to the Mets farm system, both present and over the last half dozen years or so. I mean, almost all of these players have come up to the big leagues in the last 2 or 3 seasons, with the exception of David Wright.
Well, I can see right now Samardzija's zone to left-handers is running that fastball away. There's a splitter.
Duda rolls over it and rolls it out to Barney, and an easy play for the first out. Well, that splitter clearly is a much bigger weapon for him today than it was in Chicago.
He throws it hard, and it's a good one. But he's got to throw the fastball, and he likes to run that fastball on the outside corner to lefties. And here comes Valdespin, who just continues to shine.
Interesting call by Terry Collins today to play Valdespin. I mean, Scott Hairston has been getting most of the time in left field lately, with Bay out of the lineup and Torres unavailable. But today he goes to Valdespin, who takes a fastball for a strike. Valdespin came off the bench last night, threw a walk as a pinch hitter, and then got the Mets' 9th inning rally started with his 3rd home run. This was last night against Carlos Marmol.
And that's a fastball up in the strike zone. So, he's not just a low ball hitter. This kid could be a good average hitter, a 300 hitter. He's got a chance.
He was hitting .289 at Buffalo. He hits this one deep to right field, and LaHair going back, looking up, and it's out of here. Jordany Valdespin strikes again. He's homered in back-to-back at bats. 9th inning last night, first time up today. 1-0 New York.
Well, I tell you what, he's going to play himself into this everyday lineup.
It wasn't until last year that Valdespin started hitting home runs in the minor leagues. He's hit 5 in the minors and now 4 in the majors this season. And that one was well back in the Mets bullpen.
He's got pop.
Here's Josh Tolle, and he pops one up to shallow center. And DeJesus waiting for it to come down. That's the 2nd out.
Well, it's right down the pipe, wheelhouse. He's got a beautiful swing. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? That is sweet.
There was some at-bats when he first came up, and this is his 4th stint with the Mets already this year, when it looked like his swing was a little out of control.
Yes.
But I think he's managed to temper that a little bit.
Well, he's a free-spirited, what I call free-spirited hitter. You got to be careful when you put the rein on the pull back the rein on him. You don't want to pull too much back. He's a natural loose swing. He likes to swing the bat, so you don't want to constrict him too much.
Nieuwenhuis pokes a base hit the other way. A badly needed hit for Kirk Nieuwenhuis, who had been just 5 for his last 38 before that at bat.
Well, he's been pulling off. And that's right down the pipe. That's a ball he could pull. But here he's intent on going the other way, and that's the only way he's going to come out. He keeps that shoulder in.
That'll help the Mets clear the pitcher's spot here in the 2nd inning. Dylan G, 4 for 24 this year, has 1 RBI. Well, it is certainly one of the themes for the first half of the season for the Mets. I mean, they've had their stars like Dickey and Santana and Wright, who have had tremendous first halves. But they've also had this influx of talent from the minor leagues, and it has seemed as though everybody who has come up from Buffalo has been able to contribute something. And Valdespin's case,
some rather dramatic moments.
He's very talented.
I mean, the first guy was Nieuwenhuis. He came up second game of the season after Torres got hurt and was an instant impact player. G bounces one for Castro, and he'll go to first with it to end the inning. But the Mets grab the lead in the bottom of the second. Jordani Valdespin hitting his 4th home run of the year and his 2nd in his last 2 at bats. Going deep on Jeff Samardzija to give Dylan G and the Mets a 1-0 lead after 2. Thanks to Jordani Valdespin's home run. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com.
Well, there's the beautiful swing. Look at the head right on the ball. The eyes looking like the way let's go with one hand. It's got a very fluid swing.
You know, we were talking about the development of Valdespin's power. He's 24 years old, and I think it's true for a lot of young players, but maybe even more so for some of those young players who get signed out of the Dominican, who need to put on a little weight and fill out. I mean, he first played for the Mets in their Dominican Summer League in 2007, and up until last year had never hit more than 6 home runs in a season. Nice backhand stop by Tejada, and he throws out Darwin Barney for the first out. But then last year, playing for Binghamton as a 23-year-old, he hit 15 home runs, added 2 more at Buffalo, and all of a sudden showed some signs that he can hit for some power. And he has.
Nice backhand. Well, Tejada just plays a very, very steady, solid shortstop. And very quiet, as we talked about last night. Nothing fancy. Don't notice him, but he gets it done. He gets in front of the ball whenever he can, whenever he is able to. Uses 2 hands. I just can't say enough about his defense.
Understated.
Yes.
Luis Valbuena takes one that goes to the backstop. Well, there was certainly much consternation among the world around the Mets when Jose Reyes took his exit, and the Mets basically did not offer him a contract, and he left for Miami. That one's lined up the middle on a base hit for Valbuena, the second Cubs hit. So I guess the question is, coming into the season, did you expect that Tejada would be able to fill his shoes this easily?
I must say that I misjudged him, and the first misjudgment was I didn't think he had a strong enough arm. I was dead wrong. He's got not a great arm, but he's got a good enough arm to play shortstop and throw deep in the hole. again, he comes in under the radar.
Samardzija gets the bunt down. Tolley's going to go to second with it and gets the force there. The relay in time for the double play. Beautifully turned. Tolley to Tejada. And Murphy handling the throw at first for the 2-6-4 double play. Aggressive defense by the Mets. They're up 1-0 in the third. Play.
Well, Josh knew from the get-go he had the lead runner. Watch Tejada dodge. Very nice.
Now close plays both at second and at first. Here's the play at first.
Safe, is he not?
Looks like Samardzija beat it. But also as important was the play at second. Watch Tejada's right foot as he catches this throw.
Well, you got a little bit of wiggle room the umpires will give you. It's like cheating at first base, and that's close enough. But a beautiful sidestep there.
But what makes it interesting there is it's because he was able to clear so quickly that he's able to get that out at first. So I guess the question is, why do the umpires give you wiggle?
That's a good question. There's your Coors Light freeze cam, and it's pretty apparent he beat it, but it's moot. Oh, look at that. I didn't know we could move. Oh, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, if you went strictly by the book, the Cubs would have runners at first and second with one out.
Yes, correct.
Instead, the Mets get the call at second and at first. And so we head for the bottom of the third with the Mets up 1-0. Tejada flied out to right his first time up. But that's part of the knowledge that a middle infielder has to have, how much you can get away with.
And if there was no wiggle room or give there, Tejada would have made sure the lead out.
It'll be Tejada, Murphy, and right for the Mets in the third against Samardzija, who gave up a home run to Valdespin in the second for the game's only run. Tejada chasing a slider, and it's 0-2.
Oh, good slider by Samardzija there. Getting back to Ruben Tejada, left on his arm, how I was wrong. I didn't think he would hit, to be honest with you. And he's gotten a lot stronger over the winter. Upper body strong, and his legs, because the legs are what carry you to 162. He has shown no signs of wearing down this year, Gary was concerned.
Of course, he did miss 7 weeks.
I understand. So that remains to be seen.
Muscles this one toward the middle, and he's got a base hit. And correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, but isn't a swing like that where that extra strength really helps pay off for him?
I agree, and the fact that he stays level, the ball gets inside on him here. Nicely done. He brings his hands across his body to get the barrel through. He has been so, there you go, right there.
That's another hit with 2 strikes just to bolster those numbers. Best in the majors the last 2 years with 2 strikes on him.
He's got a good eye at the plate. You know, you get a chance to see these guys play day in, day out. You can have a better assessment and a better judgment on them.
Here's Murphy, who struck out his first time up. Not a base stealer.
He's the most improved hitter on the team. There's no question. And you know, I thought that we got 240 out of Ruben, it would be wonderful. Just play the heck out of shortstop. Well, shoot, he can hit. Give me 280.
Well, that's what he's doing now at age 22. I guess the question is there a greater upside for Tejada? What do you see him eventually being?
Well, it's difficult to say. There's so many traps along the way as you become a veteran. He seems to be, number one, the reason why he's improved, he's a very intelligent young man. So he's able to make wise decisions of what he has to do. And he stayed disciplined. And I think he's got the temperament to be disciplined. I mean, he's not an emotional guy. He's pretty even keeled. So, you know, who knows what the future is for him? I just know that now he's going to be a solid major leaguer, bar injury.
Very interesting, because we talked about Valdespin earlier, and you look at Valdespin and you look at Tejada. Valdespin's a couple of years older than Tejada, but their temperaments could not be more opposite.
Correct. Valdespin is more emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nice to have spirit. Nothing wrong with being calm, cool, and collected like Tejada.
Samardzija spending a lot of time on Tejada, who has stolen only 1 base this year and really does not have very good speed.
I'm looking very much forward to our interview with Sandy Alderson tomorrow. We'll have an in-depth. He'll be in the booth with us, you Met fans, and going over the first half, the prospects, and get his insights. He's the man. He's the one in charge, pushing the buttons, making the decisions.
Well, the trading deadline is 24 days away. And in the days between now and then, the Mets and many other teams who are in contention now kind of need to prove to their organizations that they merit the kind of moves that could help put them over the top. And those are decisions that Sandy and many of the other GMs are going to have to make. And I'm not sure that Sandy knows what he's going to do right now, because, you know, you look at the main needs that this team has, and they have options in-house.
Well, just remember that the old adage, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think they're going to be. If you're a Met fan, you've got to like how this first half has come about. Up here in the booth, I've loved what I've seen here the first half, and quite frankly, I'm surprised at how this team has played, how well it's played, and the spirit. And a lot has to do with the coaching staff, the manager. It's a good group here. And so you just don't want to get impatient. I mean, Sandy's been around a long time, so he doesn't have to succumb to any pressures from the outside to make something happen. I think that he'll be patient. This team is playing well. They're right in the hunt.
3-2. Tejada runs. Murphy hits a comebacker. Samardzija's going to have to go to first with it. So by putting Tejada in motion, the Mets stay out of the double play and have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Well, I think that whatever move Sandy makes, I have a feeling it's going to be a relatively small move as we look at the standings in the National League East. The Mets 4.5 out in the East. Right now they are a half game out of the second wild card spot. And I think between now and the trading deadline, we'll probably get to see Jason Bay back in the lineup. And the Mets will get a better read on whether he can, you know, fill that need for a right-handed bat. We may well see some bullpen help. A guy like a Henry Mejia, who finally pitched well in relief last night. A guy like Josh Edgin, to see whether maybe they're part of the solution for another issue that the Mets want to address.
Well, there is a need for another left-hander in that pen, and to go with Burdack. I'm sure that Terry Collins would love to have another left-hander out there. You just can't have anybody out there. They've tried a few. They haven't succeeded.
Wright walked his first time up, and he takes a slider on the corner, 1-1.
And the interesting thing about Bay, you know, he's got the big contract and all that. He's going to play, but there's really a need for Jason to get to old form because of the right-handed bat he'd bring in the middle of the lineup, which is very much needed by this ball club.
Well, what you can certainly foresee when Jason first comes back is that when the Mets face a lefty, you'll see Bay playing left and Hairston playing right, and Duda will be sitting on the bench. You have to think that's going to happen,
well,
at least at
that's
first.
Another decision. That's a tough one because you've got a young player with a future in Duda. I kind of maybe want to have him play out there and give him a shot, much like Ike.
It's sharply. Castro does not take the play at third. Instead, goes to first to get right. Tejada running on a ball hit in front of him, perhaps recklessly so, but he makes it.
No, not perhaps. Absolutely. I can't believe Castro didn't go to third. Very nonchalant here. He makes a beautiful play in between hot bullet, and then just kind of, oh, okay, you're free to go. It's like playing Monopoly. You got your get out of jail free card. So that's a boo-boo right there. He was dead, but he got away with it.
So Ruben out on bail. It's at third with 2 out. And now Ike Davis will try and get him in. Davis flied to right his first time up. And with the third baseman Valbuena playing well off the line, Tejada is really wandering down the line at third base trying to catch Samardzij's attention.
Well, Samardzij's got to focus on the hitter here. He's 1 out from getting out of this inning with no run. And there's no chance that Tejada is going to try to steal home.
And Samardzij with the fastball gets ahead on Davis 0-2.
So there's a lot of hoping right now, hoping that Ike can come back to form. Duda can live up to expectations in Bay. If those 3 guys can come back to the old form, boy, what a formidable lineup.
Well, I guess the other question that I have to ask is, when you look at what the Mets have done offensively so far, without anything from Bay, without Davis having anything close to what you expected, without Duda really producing a ton, they're third in the league in runs scored. Do they need an offensive upgrade?
We've already had this discussion. I told you I'm a pitching guy.
Davis hooks it deep right field, back toward the Pepsi porch, and it's out of here. Ike Davis with a 2-run homer, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead. Number 12 for Ike Davis. The Mets with home runs in back-to-back innings. Valdespin in the second, and now Davis a 2-run shot in the third, and it's 3-0 New York.
Well, there you go. It's a splitter or a hanging curve. No, there's a splitter, I think. Something hanging, either a splitter or a curve slider, right down the middle. You see Ike still out in front, still hitting that ball. Maybe we can come back to it if we get a chance.
2 more 2-out runs for the Mets. They lead the world in that category as Duda takes a strike. But we've seen this during Ike's hot streak. Even when he's out in front, he's been able to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
But Ike is then going to be a guy that's going to strike out and be vulnerable. He needs to bring it back a little bit. That pitch was down the middle. He shouldn't have to let go with one hand. I know I'm being very picky here, very picky, but he's still just all year just been a little out in front. He's just so doggone strong.
That's with 2 home runs in the game. Log on to SNY.TV/Dwayne Reed to print out your coupon for 2 Garnier hair products for $10, redeemable at any Dwayne Reed location. So Samardzij, who had given up only 9 home runs in his first 16 starts, has given up a pair today. Gave up a couple to the Mets in his start against them in Chicago as well. Davis has taken him deep in both of those games. He gets Duda with the splitter to end the inning. That's his second strikeout. But Ike Davis strikes with 2 out and 2 strikes. Little hanging slider in the middle of the plate, and Davis makes no mistake. His 12th home run of the year, and the Mets are up 3-0 after 3. Is brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Highest temperature ever at the start of a major league game was 109 degrees in the old ballpark in Arlington in 1988. I was talking to Josh Tolley this morning as that youngster makes sure that we stay hydrated.
I remember. Oh, go ahead, but your Tolley story.
I was just going to say, I was talking to Tolley today, and I said, what's the hottest you've ever been behind the plate? And he said it was in Texas last year. We had a series there when it was 99 degrees every day. And the thing that Tolley has to contend with today, it's the first time he's played on a really hot day with that new mask, which doesn't breathe quite as well as the regular mask.
And when it doesn't breathe, you can get a headache. And that's not good. So I remember in St. Louis one year they had a really hot summer and had 17 straight days in St. Louis over 100 degrees. There's no talk of global warming back then.
And that's on artificial turf.
Yes, it was murder. I mean, we were on the road, thank goodness, a few of those days.
De Jesus lifts one to shallow right. And Duda coming on. One away.
But I remember that summer, it was a smoker. You know, in the American Association, everywhere you play, it's always hot in the summer. July and August are the worst months. Gosh, Wichita, Kansas, Omaha, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, they were hot towns.
I will say today it's not quite as hot as they predicted. They were talking about 100 degrees with 110 heat index. Well, it's only 94 only.
Right.
And the humidity is not terrible. Here's Starlin Castro with one out. He takes a strike. Plus, the sun has been shaded by some haze for most of the day. So it's not quite as miserable as it might have been.
And it always is muggier in the boroughs here, the greater New York area.
Duda got a late start coming in, but able to make up ground for the second out.
You got this massive humanity. Think of all the air conditioning that's on and all the concrete. It just intensifies the heat. Now, this morning when I woke up, it was muggy, but it was only like 85 degrees. It's a lot of bucolic country out there.
Well, when I left here last night after the game, the temperature gauge on my car said it was 88. When I got home an hour later, it was 68.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Up in the leafy suburbs. As a call strike to Anthony Rizzo.
So it's always going to be a lot heat's more intensified in the urban areas, and this is obviously the #1 urban area in the country.
Doesn't get more urban. Super herb. Anthony Rizzo flying to center field his first time up. Dylan G's worked to the minimum so far. 2 base runners against him, both erased. And Rizzo hooks one to Murphy, who's playing in shallow right, and that ends the inning. So G, with a 3-run lead, handles them with aplomb in the 4th. Andrew Jones hit 2 home runs. Yankees behind Freddie Garcia beat the Red Sox in the start of a day-night doubleheader. Zach Greinke, arguing a call at first, spiked the baseball, got ejected. 4 pitches. Valdespin trying to butt his way on. Samardzija throws him out, throwing it right into the runner. And they get Valdespin, who homered in his last at bat, and this time trying to get on with the bunt.
Well, I tell you what, they could have thrown and hit Valdespin in the back, and he would have been called for interference running inside the line. Look at him. You can't do that. That is a no-no.
Well, you can do it as long as you get away with it.
Well,
but if you, I mean, Seaver always said in that situation he wanted to hit the guy right in the back.
Right. And if it hit him in the back, it would have been he'd have been called out.
But you know, some guys are reluctant to do that, and if you're running inside the line like that and make them make a bad throw, there's no penalty for that. Nothing in 2 to Tolley. So in some ways, it can be good strategy.
If you're going to get if you can read it that you can get him out, then just make the play.
Tolley pops one up into shallow left. Castro going out to call.
Don't have to worry about Soriano. He wanted no part of that one.
Not even in the same area code.
I think they've been playing together all year for the last couple of years.
So 2 up and 2 quickly set aside in the home 4th.
Good. Soriano, I see. You got it, brother.
Can't even get him in the same frame. Soriano now 36, and the legs just aren't what they used to be. So he leaves it to the 22-year-old to catch everything he can. Neuenhuis had an opposite field hit his first time up, and he takes ball 1. Talking about Greinke getting ejected after 4 pitches. He was a guy who was not included on the All-Star team, although he certainly could have been. But with the All-Star break after tomorrow, maybe Ron Renneke brings him back tomorrow after he threw only 4 pitches.
Could.
A lot of strange things happened right before the break. In fact, Terry Collins said before the game today that R.A. Dickey is available in the bullpen today. or his next start. Other than the All-Star game will be next Saturday in Atlanta. And Nieuwenhuis down on strikes. Third strikeout for Samardzija. He's got his first 1-2-3 inning of the day, but the Mets have a 3-0 lead after 4. Will he hold out again? Plus, Sanchez or Tebow. The crew weighs in on which quarterback is the best fit to start for the Jets. On Jets Nation, presented by Melrose Credit Union. New episode Sunday at 7, only on SNY.
They're going to use them both quarterbacks.
Right, but will they use Tebow as a quarterback, or will they use him as a quarterback?
What's the offense that they like to run with the quarterback run?
Wildcat.
Yep, they'll use him in the Wildcat. You watch.
That's fine. I mean,
he's a big guy.
As I've said before, they wouldn't be having this problem if they just held on to Brad Smith. He did just fine running that Wildcat.
I think Tebow will be better at running the Wildcat. He's bigger and stronger. Someone like 250 running that after 245, whatever he is.
Well, he certainly showed that against the Jets last year.
Boy,
he beat him single-handedly on that last drive. Dylan G has thrown only 38 pitches over the first 4 innings. Only 6 pitches in the 3rd inning, only 8 pitches in the 4th inning, so he really needs his warm-ups as he starts the 5th. He's barely broken a sweat today. And he's throwing some extra warm-up pitches here because the home plate umpire, Paul Nart, just headed into the Mets dugout to get some hydration.
You can see on Samardzija's numbers, left-handers coming into the game hitting 285 against them. Now have 9 home runs. You stack left-handers against him, you make it real tough for him to be successful.
But you would think that splitter would be a nice neutralizing weapon.
He's not refined enough with it yet, and he hasn't got. He's not certainly his breaking his slider is his 3rd pitch.
So G's got himself a 3-0 lead as we start the 5th. Alfonso Soriano grounded to short his first time up and takes the curveball out of the strike zone for ball 1. Soriano, LaHair, and Clevenger will try and get the Cubs started. They've had just 2 singles today. Castro in the 1st and Valbuena in the 3rd. Castro was erased trying to steal. Valbuena was erased on a double play. And a curveball in for a strike, 1-2, and G has thrown his curveball a lot more today and effective with it. Soriano always good for 20+ home runs. He's got 15 this year. And he pops this one up. Shallow right. Who's going to get it? Murphy with the best angle and into foul ground to catch it. Nice play by Murph for the first out.
Very nice play by Murph. He's a big leaguer. He's got to make this play, but this is not an automatic.
every one of those guys thinks they could have caught it too.
Looks like a tennis match, doesn't it? With fans in the background.
The only difference is they're not looking from side to side. Hurt your neck doing that. Here's Brian LaHare, who struck out his first time up. And there's another curveball for a strike. So G has found his niche with that curveball today. And LaHare hooks one foul. 0-2 to Brian LaHare, who came up through the Seattle organization. Grew up in Worcester, Mass, playing high school basketball, and his coach was J.P. Ricciardi. Now a member of the Mets Brain Trust in their front office. J.P. said his goal was to keep LaHare in the best physical shape he could for baseball season. He appears to have helped do that. LaHare dumps one into shallow center field, and the Cubs had their third hit off Dylan G. So LaHare with a 1-out single on a 0-2 pitch.
Well, wants a little off speed pitch away. Wants it down. Does he get it down enough? Okay, the difference is I got it out of the strike zone, but it was too much elevation. He kind of went sidearm, excuse me, Gary, and he just lost the sink there.
Keith, as a hitter,
yes,
when a catcher is so demonstrative about where he wants a pitch, I mean, slapping his glove on the ground a couple of times like that, even if you're not peeking, do you at least get an inkling of what's going on back there?
Well, it depends on the catcher. And Tony Pena, I can tell you in my day, was a classic guy that would tap his glove inside for you to hear it, then sneak outside, and sometimes he'd stay in. It was very crafty. I hated it, and I was very thankful that he was the only one that did it. It just made me think too much. I had to step out sometimes. He also, every first at bat of every game, he was chewing tobacco. He'd spit on my shoe. Serious.
That's nasty.
He'd spit in the top of my shoe.
On purpose?
On purpose. And we were good friends. So, and he knew I didn't chew. So, but with Josh, you know, with today's computers, and you can watch, and how diligent are you with the computer to look for certain things to give you an edge. You know, Josh has got to be careful not to get into a pattern.
1-2 to Clevenger, and the curveball misses. It's just that watching the Met catchers this year, both Tolle and Nicky, as we've seen a lot of standing up early for the high fastball.
Right.
The motion with the hand up in front of the chest protector, not really hiding it, or tapping the glove on the ground like that. And you just wonder whether opposing teams can take advantage of that. Fly ball out to center field, and Neuenhuis is drifting over.
Well, you can have signals. It wouldn't bother me standing up. It wouldn't, all that elevating. I mean, it works today because so many guys strike out today, and they have not great knowledge of a strike zone. I had a good knowledge of the strike zone, and if they wanted to go up the ladder on me, sure, I might swing at it once in a while, but it wouldn't matter. My focus is on the pitcher. I'm not going to be able to see all the catcher standing up behind me now.
But if somebody gave you a signal from the on-deck circle and you knew that the ball was going to be up, wouldn't that be helpful?
I used to have Darryl do it for me on lefties. Let me know. He would go, come on, Keith, or whatever, with the catcher set up inside. I only did it late in the game. I only wanted it first strike. So I can really, if I heard Darryl go, come on, it would be Mex, which I don't like to go by that anymore. I would set up inside, but only for one strike. You can't get too cute.
Darwin Barney lifts another one out for Neuenhuis. And so G, using the big part of the ballpark, gets through the top of the fifth, and we are halfway through with the Mets up 3-0. game before the All-Star break. John Neese will go for his 8th win. And Ryan Dempster, who would lead the league in ERA if he had enough innings, will come off the disabled list to pitch tomorrow for Chicago. Home 5th inning, and G leads off against Samardzija. Dillon grounded out to short his first time up. And Samardzija quickly out in front 0-2. Ruben Tejada and Daniel Murphy to follow for the Mets, who've gotten the home runs from Valdespin and Davis today for a 3-0 lead without the wind blowing out, or at least not like it was at Wrigley. Line to right, but right at LaHare, and G is retired for the first out. That'll bring up Ruben Tejada. Eamon McEnany is with us. Let's check in with Eamon.
Well, Gary, I spoke to Ruben Tejada this week about that second knob on his bat, that roll of tape right at the top of the knob that Keith's been talking about frequently this week. He said the organization recommended he do it about 2 years ago because he was missing his pitch too many times. He told me it definitely took him about a month to get used to, but now that he's definitely used to it, it's improved his bat control. And talking to Dave Hudgens, he says that improved bat control, along with his short, compact swing, has helped him the most because he's able to wait on the pitch that just a little bit more before committing to his swing and committing to his pitch. So it's allowed him to cover more of the plate, especially on the sliders as he swings here and fouls it off. And Keith, I guess my question to you is that combination with that short, compact swing, how much of a factor is that to his success now with 2 strikes?
Well, the compact swing, Eamon, is a very, very much at issue here. I mean, you can actually, if you don't want to choke up, then just get an inch smaller bat or 2-inch smaller bat. I will refer to Barry Bonds, who choked up all the time, and guess what? How many home runs did he hit? So you don't have to be a line drive hitter and a singles hitter, to choke up. Barry Bonds did it.
Meanwhile, Tejada just broke his bat, and he gets a new bat that doesn't have the tape on it, and he promptly drives one deep center field, but back goes to Jesus to run it down for the second out. Well, wouldn't you think if that tape was part of his formula, that he'd have a backup bat with the tape on it? Yep. But that one was a different color bat and had no tape.
And it was the
one he broke.
Black bat too. So yeah. I don't. Whatever. Well, he shattered that one pretty good, didn't he? Looks like a Ahab could use that bat now.
It looks like the mast of the ship. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Daniel Murphy, who's 0 for 2. Struck out and hit a comebacker. Well, Samardzija is starting to settle into a groove, throwing more strikes now. And he's retired 6 in a row since the Ike Davis home run. He's throwing 10 straight strikes now and ahead on Murphy 0-2. And he bounces that slider, and Murph stops the swing.
Well, he's made more than a few mistakes with his breaking stuff. And he's a diamond in the rough. He's not a real refined pitcher yet. He's got the tools. But Valdespin hit a fastball down the pipe, and Ike Davis hit a hanging slider down the pipe.
Well, Samardzija was drafted in 06, but then went back to Notre Dame to play football that fall. He made it to the big leagues as a reliever very quickly in 2008, and they used him out of the bullpen predominantly until last year. He made a few starts, and now this year a permanent fixture in the rotation. Murphy banks one off Samardzija, and he will beat that out for an infield hit. Well, Murphy becoming the expert at hitting it off the pitcher. He got the base hit against the Phillies against Papelbon 2 nights ago in that 9th inning rally, and now he banks one off Samardzija.
Well, Murph's a gap-to-gap hitter. He should always go up the middle. He's not a power guy. He's a doubles guy.
It was, by the way, a very nice toe save by Samardzija. Didn't help him make the play, but he kicked out that left leg like an experienced netminder. So the Mets have a 2-out base runner for David Wright. David walked and stole a base in the first, then hit a hard ground ball to short in the third. 0 for 1. 17 RBIs in his last 9 games.
Oh boy, where's that pitch?
David already with 40 extra base hits, 27 doubles, 2 triples, and 11 home runs.
He is having a tremendous year. First half. What a first half. Started out fast, a little bit of a lull in the middle, and finishing strong.
High in the rankings in virtually every offensive category.
That was a hanger to rip. Oh, boy. Now, I don't like the Cubs blue tops at all. That's kind of ugly.
But you like the blue ones the Mets wore last night.
I did. I did very much. And you had Los Mets on them, but even if they had the Mets across them, it would be nice look.
And that is going to be, as I understand it, an alternate jersey for the Mets next year that they'll wear on a more regular basis.
Did they ever
Murphy
have
just got the hand back?
Did they ever have Metropolitans written across too much?
No. Well, that's not their name. It's not Metropolitans.
Okay,
it's
so it is
just
the Mets. So
only for Steve Summers is it the Metropolitans.
Okay.
Here's the 1-1. Now the official name of the ball club when they first started, the name of the company was the New York Metropolitan Baseball Club, but the name of the team was always.
I thought it was a shortened version because just like Metropolitans is too long.
Like Knicks for Knickerbockers.
Right.
Now the 2-1, and it's fouled off. Of course, when the Mets were first given the National League franchise, they had to come up with a name for the team, and they solicited input from people around the metropolitan area. There were a number of names that fell short. Skyliners was one.
Thank goodness.
Islanders was another.
Really?
Well before the hockey team existed. But I think they got it right.
I think so too.
Skyliners would be like a chili parlor in Cincinnati.
It'd be awful. And they got the logo right too. I love the Met logo.
So does Mr. Met. He wears it proudly. Low and away as he keeps the ball away from right in a full count. So that'll get Murphy an automatic start. There's the big guy. It's always smiling. Fans are true to the orange and blue. Murphy gets set to run. 3-2 coming to right. And the breaking ball in there for a call, strike 3. Samardzija gets him looking with a slider. His 4th strikeout. Not what David was looking for.
Oh, 1 to hit if he stayed in.
For today, the last time two players from the same team won the Cy Young and the MVP in the same season. Should have happened last year, but it didn't, because Matt Kemp should have been the MVP and Clayton Kershaw won the Cy Young, but it didn't. Luis Valbuena leads off the 6th inning and takes a strike. Valbuena singled to center field his first time up. One of 3 singles against Dylan G. The Cubs haven't had a runner past first base. Dylan hasn't walked a batter. Struck out 2. Pitched to a very low pitch count over the first 5 innings. Only 53 pitches through 5.
See, there's no shadow effect on the field. Usually the sun kind of sets over the third base line, over the third base dugout.
Valbuena takes one the other way down the line, and that's going to land fair and bounce into the corner. Valbuena goes to second, and the Cubs have a runner to second base for the first time today, a leadoff double.
Right down the line. Nicely played by Valdespin.
Well, this is what Valbuena did throughout that series in Chicago. He's now 4 for 5 against Dylan G. And Samardzija can go up there to try to bunt, although there's no guarantee of that. He's a pretty good hitter. Bunted into a double play his first time up. Has 5 hits and 3 RBIs this year.
Very shallow outfield.
Samardzija has 1 career home run. And he is swinging.
Well, you know, when you're in last place, 14 games out of first place, almost 20 games under 500, you can let it go.
Well, Pat Listach, the third base coach, just called him down, so he might have just missed a sign. Mets are still looking for the bunt. Pat Listach, former American League MVP, Rookie of the Year. And Samardzija apparently did miss a sign. Although when you're down 3 runs in the 6th inning, I don't think it's that bad a play to have your pitcher swing away if he's got a clue.
At least give him 1 strike. Yep. Got the corners in right there aggressively.
Ike charging very hard, and Samardzija pulls the bat back and takes a strike. We saw Ike bearing down on him. He was about 40 feet away when that pitch arrived at home plate, and so he pulled the bat back. Now it's 1-2.
I like the way Ike plays the bunt when first base is unoccupied. He's very aggressive. With 2 strikes and a good hitting pitcher, you got to be wary. Not sure.
Set to swing the last 2 pitches, and he's set again, and he hits it toward the middle of the diamond. Over comes Murphy. He'll have to go to first with it, and so it has the effect of a sacrifice, even if it doesn't go in the scorecard that way. Valbuena now at third with 1 out. We're going to check in with the studio. Gary Apple has this game break. Gonzalez trying to match R.A. Dickey for the league lead in wins. So now runner at third with 1 out, and David DeJesus, who's flied out twice. Mets will keep their middle infielders back with a 3-run lead. And DeJesus takes a curveball for a strike.
You know, it's such a funny game. You got Colorado, who has just bad, horrible starting pitching. You know, Washington has been on a roll, scoring a ton of runs. But they get shut out last night, Washington, and then Colorado, it's 1-1 in the 5th.
Drew Pomeranz pitched brilliantly last night. Jeff Francis in the game today. And back-to-back curveballs from G get him ahead 0-2. That's a pitch at times last year that Dylan G completely forgot about. But he has reclaimed his curveball, and it's been a big weapon for him today. Now he's ahead on DeJesus 0-2. And the man from Manalapan takes high 1-2. DeJesus was actually born in Brooklyn before his family moved to Jersey. So he's a local kid all the way around. Starlin Castro on deck. And he holds the swing on the high fastball, and it's 2-2. G has been striking out hitters at a greater rate this year than before in his career. 8.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. There's a young Met fan hoping for a strikeout. Keep him cool. Now the 2-2, and the curveball whacked back toward the middle. A base hit for DeJesus, and the Cubs are on the board. Valbuena is in to score. DeJesus with an RBI single, and the Met lead is now 3-1.
Well, you saw G's reaction after the ball went up the middle. The 2 pitches up out of the strike zone to set up the curveball up and down the ladder, and he hung it. And there it is, just a floater right on a tee. DeJesus takes advantage of it.
22nd RBI for DeJesus. So it's now a 3-1 game. Starlin Castro the batter. 1 for 2 on the day, singled and flied out. And he takes a slider for a strike.
Boy, Dillon just has a very effortless delivery home. Body working together and everything in sync.
I think Dillon pitched on any hot days as a kid growing up in Cleburne, Texas.
I would think so.
Well, he's kept his pitch count down today. There you see the strikeout numbers and how they have increased this year while the walks have gone down, and that's a pretty good formula for success. Dillon enjoyed instant success last year, went 7-0 to start the season. His 1-loss record may not be as good, but he's a better pitcher now than he was last year. Just seems to have more at his disposal now and a better command of the strike zone.
Well, he got, I think, stubborn really last year. It's kind of interesting how he loved his fastball. Then they couldn't get him to throw his fastball enough. Loved his change, but now he's mixing them all in.
Like an artist with a more developed palate.
It's interesting to watch everybody grow.
0-2 to Castro, and he got it on his fists. 92 miles an hour. That's as hard a pitch as G has thrown today. This has been Dillon's hardest working inning. He's already thrown 17 pitches in this inning. That's more than he threw in the 3rd and 4th innings combined. 1 out and 1 on. 0-2 to Castro. And the breaking ball hit to short. Tejada on the backhand. Gets it to Murphy on time. Murphy gets upended. And the Mets can't turn the double play. I'm not sure they would have had any chance anyway. But DeJesus came in hard, and Murphy wound up on his seat. That's the 2nd out.
Nice play by Tejada. The ball comes up. Watch. Beautiful hands, soft hands, nice feed. Murph gets a little more experience. He'll just probably eat that. He did the right thing, though, getting behind the bag.
And DeJesus did the right thing, going right through the bag. So 2 out. Castro, who can steal a base, is now at first. And Anthony Rizzo, the batter, tying run at the plate in a 3-1 game. Rizzo, who had the big home run in last night's game, is 0 for 2 today. Flied out to center and then hit a soft line drive to second base.
He's been
change up by G.
He's been getting him with the off-speed stuff today. And Rizzo can't seem to lay off that. You know, so many hitters today look so comfortable up there, and Rizzo's one of them. Look how relaxed. I tell you what, if put a couple in your ribs, you won't stand like that, I guarantee you. You got to be a little more ready to pull the ejector cord.
Remind you a little bit of Adam LaRoche in that
a little bit
at the plate.
A little bit. Yes. Not entirely.
LaRoche is a little more open, I think.
Yes.
Another good changeup by G, and it's 1-2.
And he's having a hard time with Dillon's off-speed stuff. Good one to put right under his chin right here, then go right back to the change.
G trying to battle through his toughest inning. 1-2. And it's even on Rizzo, 2-2.
Can't go to the well too much. Got a hitter going okay. Rizzo is cognizant, trust me, that the fact he's having trouble with that change. Maybe waiting a little longer, diving, put one underneath his chin, not to hit him, just to push him off. But they're going to stay away.
Now the 2-2. Hit back up the middle. Tejada can't get it. And Rizzo has a base hit. And that puts the tying runs aboard with Soriano coming up.
Well, impressive at bat by Rizzo. There's a case where it's too much on the outside corner, I feel.
And that one off.
Hitting the ball right up at the plate.
So Dan Warthen's going to take a visit to the mound. Try and give G a breather here on a very hot afternoon. G's thrown 23 pitches in this inning. And he'll face Alfonso Soriano with 2 out and 2 on.
Well, there's no one up in either bullpen.
Last start before the All-Star break for Dillon, and he'll have plenty of rest before his next one. He's not scheduled to pitch until a week from Tuesday in Washington. So that's 10 days between starts.
You got a very dangerous hitter here, power hitter, and Soriano.
Soriano is grounded out to short and fouled out to second. He's thrown him a lot of curveballs today. And starts him off with a fastball up and in for ball 1. It's only the 5th batter out of 22 that he hasn't thrown a first pitch strike. There you see the numbers with runners in scoring position, and that's one of the keys to Dillon's success. He's kept that number down. Castro at second, Rizzo the tying run at first with 2 out. And Soriano takes the curveball high, and it's 2-0. Brian LaHare would be next. Two outs, runners in scoring position. It's been a while for Soriano. And a 2-0 curveball misses, and now G in danger of loading him up for LaHare.
And he's got to be careful here that Soriano doesn't get the hit sign. I would give Soriano the hit sign.
And a fastball, strike 3-1. G hasn't walked about it today. He struck out only 2 until this inning, able to keep his pitch count very low. But he's given up a run here in the 6th, and now the tying runs on base. 3-1 coming to Soriano. And the curveball bends in for a strike with Soriano bailing out. It's 3-2. He's appeared vulnerable to that pitch all day.
Well, if he stays in, that's one to rip. That's not a good one.
So now the runners get set to go. Castro at second, Rizzo at first, 3-2, 2 down.
Come inside with a fastball. Or not.
Curveball fouled off. So Soriano not bailing on that breaking ball.
He's lost the sharpness of his curve right there now. He's got to be careful with that pitch. He's thrown 2 helicopters up there in a row. Not getting on top of it.
He's about to throw his 30th pitch of this inning. Another 3-2 coming to Soriano. He struck him out. High heat from Dylan G. And he gets out of trouble in the 6th with just 1 run coming home. Just the 3rd strikeout of the day for G, but a big one. As he gets Soriano to keep the Mets up 3-1. Home 6th inning, Ike Davis leads off against Jeff Samardzija. And Davis hits one in the air to center field. David DeJesus looking through the sunglasses. 1 pitch and 1 out for Samardzija in the bottom of the 6th. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Scorcher at Citi Field. Late afternoon on a Saturday. 1 out, Lucas Duda the batter. Duda 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. Just 6 hits in his last 42 at bats. Samardzija has retired 8 of the last 9 batters since the Ike Davis home run, and the only blemish was the infield hit for Murphy off Samardzija's foot. So Danny Valdespin on deck. And he runs the fastball inside to Duda, 2-0. Well, Samardzija's only walked 1 batter today. That was David Wright back in the 1st inning. And now behind Duda, 3-0.
Like to give Duda a hit sign here. 3-0.
Duda's 2nd on the ball club in drawing walks this year, and he draws his 39th of the year. And David Wright has received more walks. David got his 50th today. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering. By New York State, discover what you love, plan your vacation now. And by Pepsi, bring 50% off 2 tickets when you bring your Mets 50th anniversary can to Citi Field at the box office now through July 25th. Visit Mets.com/PepsiCan for more information. Here's Valdespin. who homered in his first at bat today after homering in the 9th inning last night, and after back-to-back home runs tried to bunt his way on in the 4th, and Samardzija threw him out.
Here's the home run in the 2nd inning. The solo shot got the Mets on the board. Fastball right down the pipe, right in Valdespin's wheelhouse. And he's got pop.
He's got 4 home runs in just 66 big league at bats this year. Had 5 home runs in the minor leagues as well. And hoping that his minor league days are behind him. Although when you've got that option and you've been on the Buffalo Express, sometimes hard to get off the train. Fastball strike, and it's 1-1.
That's what Samardzija needs to do with consistency to have any effectiveness against left-handers. And that's that inside strike. It's tough for him to do.
Well, it's what Papelbon tried to do to Valdespin the other night. It's what Marmol hoped to do to him as well. And Samardzija gets it in on him again. It's 1-2.
See, there's 2 in a row right there, up and in. Look at the count. After ball 1, he's got 2 straight strikes.
Samardzija struck out 11 in his last start in 7 innings in Atlanta. He struck out 4 today. 1-2 to Valdespin. Little tapper up the first baseline. Rizzo makes the tag attempt, but he didn't get him, and Valdespin is safe. Well, Rizzo, I think, misjudged Valdespin's speed, tried to swipe him, but first base umpire Doug Eddings said he didn't get him.
A tough call for Eddings, too, and really not much he can do. He's got it's the home plate umpire's call, and any grounder in front of first base. But Valdespin is clearly in the base path, has a right to do that. And there's a case. He missed him. It was a right-handed first baseman. It would have been an easier tag.
Wait a second. You mean there's an advantage to being a right-handed first baseman ever?
In that case.
It's the first time I've ever heard you say that. So Valdespin has his 2nd hit of the day. And now Josh Thole bats with 2 men on. And Josh lays off that fastball for ball 1. Thole is fly to center, popped to short, 0 for 2. Josh with just 10 runs batted in for the year through 174 at bats. Trying to pick up Duda from second base, with Neuenhuis, the number 8 hitter, waiting on deck. And Thole lifts one out to left, and Soriano easing over. That's the 2nd out. So Tole's hit the ball in the air 3 times and been retired all 3. Now 2 out and 2 on for Neuenhuis. There's your Coors Light freeze cam on the attempted tag by Rizzo. And you can see daylight between glove and fabric.
Yes. It's a nice day to have a little Coors Light out in the backyard.
Neuenhuis coming up with 2 out and 2 on. First, Chris Bosio is going to visit the mound to buy some time for the Cubs bullpen, which has just sprung into action. Left-hander Scott Main is starting to get ready. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night at 10:30. Big showdown between the Braves and the Phillies tonight. The Knicks working that free agent market, and tennis highlights as well. A very diverse menu tonight on Geico Sports Night, coming up tonight at 10:30.
See where the Washington Nationals in the 6th inning, 1-1 game. They had 1st and 3rd with nobody out.
Zimmerman just drove in a run to put the Nats up 2-1. So here's Neuenhuis, who's 1 for 2 today. Skimmed a single to left and struck out, and he swings and misses at the splitter, 0-1.
It's been a struggle for Neuenhuis. This is a splitter that doesn't split. Oh, right down the middle. You have dreams about that. And you have a big smile on your face when you have those kind of dreams.
Even blow bigger bubbles. It's been a long time for Neuenhuis with runners in scoring position, 0 for his last 18. That's taken low, ball and a strike. I'll tell you what, there have been some big time droughts for big league players recently. Last night, we had a player break an 0 for 41 streak.
Oh boy.
It was Luke Scott for Tampa Bay. Hit a 2-run homer to break that 0 for 41. Russell Martin for the Yankees came into the day 0 for his last 30. There's a good splitter by Samardzija.
Yep. Good spot. I think my longest was in 1977. I think I had an 0 for 24. It would have been in August.
It's hard to believe.
Because I went in.
This one stays fair. Rizzo makes the play. And Samardzija wriggles out of trouble in the bottom of the 6th. On we go to the 7th. Dylan G heads back to the mound with a 3-1 lead. G enjoying the view from a 3-1 lead as we go to the 7th, trying to bounce back after a very difficult 6th inning. Cost him 30 pitches. And Brian LaHare takes a curveball for a strike. LaHare has struck out and singled to center, 1 for 2. All right, here's one you're going to have to explain to me, Keith.
Yes.
Major League Baseball has been adamant this year that players who were selected from the All-Star game must go and play unless they have a really good reason.
Right.
Well, today, Ian Desmond, who was named to the team from the Nationals, said that he is not going to go to the All-Star game because he has an oblique injury.
Right.
Well, he's playing today, and Desmond has hit a home run.
I hear you.
So how do you justify not going to the All-Star game if you're well enough to play the Saturday before the game and you hit a home run?
How do you prove otherwise when the player can say, well, you know, if we're in first place, I got to play at a little bit of pain. And another point, too, the All-Star game is not what it used to be, Gary, as you well know. Now it's 4 days. It's all profit-taking by ownership and commissioner. And they make those players do everything when, you know, back in the day, it was the only thing that you were required to go to. Strike 3, nice pitch inside. The only thing you were required to do at the All-Star game was the luncheon, which was fun. It was a nice luncheon with all the players were there on the dais. And that was at noon. And you had the big dinner, which they had I remember my first All-Star game, they had it on an island, and it was salmon, and it was just a fabulous. And then you had to go to the workout. That was it. Nothing else. Now they got these players running around everywhere. And I'm sorry. That I wouldn't cotton to that.
So but you'd go.
Of course you'd go.
Steve Clevenger takes outside 2-0. I mean, there have always been issues about players who didn't want to play, going back to your old buddy Gary Templeton.
Oh, if I ain't starting,
I ain't departing.
I remember that, Gary.
But there supposedly this year was a concerted effort to be made that players would go and participate. I mean, it's all, the whole goal for Major League Baseball over the last dozen years since the All-Star game has lost some of its luster, and you can go through a million reasons for that. So many games on TV, you can see all the players, there's interleague play. But, their goal has been to find a way to get more people to watch and to juice up the ratings, which helps baseball advance their rights fees when they go and sell the new contract. And, one of the things they're trying to do is to make it as attractive as possible and not have players not play for no reason. Clevenger bounces one to second. Murphy playing on the outfield grass. Throws out Clevenger for the second out. Now time now for another Mets 50th anniversary moment.
In 1964, Hunt found a place for himself as the National League's starting second baseman in the All-Star game. That year, the game was played at Shea and won by the National League when the Phillies' Johnny Callison hit a homer in the bottom of the ninth.
Ron Hunt, the first Met ever to start an All-Star game, and it was at Shea Stadium, the only All-Star game ever played in Flushing, which made it even more special.
I was 10 years old that summer, my third year in Little League.
Did you make the All-Star team?
Oh, of course.
G with the bare hand play, and not in time to get Darwin Barney, who has himself an infield hit. Good effort by G, just a shade too late.
Swing and bunt. Dillon does all he can do there. Nice throw and nice cheat by Ike. Yes, nicely done, Ike. That's when you need to do it.
Dan Warthen's going to take a trip to the mound before G goes after Luis Valbuena, who's already got a single and a double today. I'm talking about Ron Hunt. He was one of the, really the first homegrown star that the Mets had. He came up with the Mets in 1963, made the All-Star team in '64. Played only 4 years with the Mets, but really established himself as the first homegrown star for a franchise that later would develop guys like Seaver and Kuzma and Cleon Jones and win a world championship with those guys.
Well, Ron Hunt eventually was traded to the Giants, and I played second base for the San Francisco Giants when I was growing up. He was my first roommate when I got invited to camp, my first spring training in the big leagues. I was given number 57, and Ron Hunt, I learned so much from him. I'm sure when he saw me walk in, he went, holy cow, I got this little 19, 20-year-old kid. And he was a 38 around then.
Valbuena pops one up, playable for Tolley, and the side retired. By the way, Keith, any chance you could share that Cracker Jack with me?
You want some?
It's candy-coated popcorn. I already got the prize.
I already got the prize.
I never get the prize. Dylan G will take the turn at bat in the bottom of the 7th inning. G has gone 7 strong innings. He's thrown just 97 pitches, so he'll get the 8th.
Well, how about this Met rotation? They just continue to go deep into ball games. I love it.
Well, they've had a hiccup the last couple of days as G hits one out to right center and DeJesus runs it down. They're big guys, Dickey and Santana, each with rough starts, but here G has picked them up this afternoon. One out for Ruben Tejada. Ruben is 1 for 3 on the day, and he's back to the black bat. Now let's see, does he have the tape? Yeah, he's got the tape.
Yes, he does.
So did he have to go back and tape a new bat after he broke the one in his last at bat and wound up using that lighter colored bat?
I have got to believe that he's got to have sat down with a dozen bats and taped them all. Okay, because it's a pain in the neck. You've got to have them all prepared.
And normally you bring how many gamers do you bring out to the dugout before the game? 2 or 3?
Well, you had your BP bat stays in there. 3. Yeah, you had around 4 bats. You had 4 bats in your rack.
So you had to figure that he would have had 2 of these black bats with the tape on them ready to go in case he broke one.
I would think he would have. I would have. Yes, I agree. It's baffling.
We'll have to find out afterward just why. And with the black bat with the tape back in his hands, Ruben has his 2nd hit of the day.
Now another multi-hit game for Ruben. I'm telling you, I am extremely impressed. Oh, this girl down here is driving me crazy.
She's very enthusiastic.
Goodness.
Well, that's the bat rack where the players keep their bats. And let's see what Murph has. 1, 2, 3. Turner's got at least 3 there.
Yeah, you got to, because you could get shattered. You could break 2 bats in a game. You can potentially break a bat every at bat.
So do you think maybe the bat boy just brought Ruben the wrong bat?
I don't know.
And if so, why did he accept it rather than asking for the right one?
Garrett, you have your mind works
I'm
in
just
very strange ways.
Fascinated by the whole subject. I mean, I know how meticulous players are about their bats, but yet there's another Tejada bat, and it's a different bat.
It's not prepared.
It's so strange. That's the one he used when he broke the other one in the 5th
So
inning.
you also notice it's the black bats that are taped, and the white birch colored bats are not taped. That's very curious. I wonder if they're different sizes.
Murphy has an infield hit in 3 at bat.
And I got to believe that Ruben does not like to choke up. He feels uncomfortable choking up, so that's why he's built that tape around there as a second handle. That was a pitch to hit right there. Murph was a little tardy. He knows it.
Now this is interesting. Look at the number on the bottom of the bat he just used. That would appear to be either Quintanilla or Nieuwenhuis's bat, depending on whether that's a 6 or a 9.
I'm confused.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. We're going to have to scope all this out in time for tomorrow's game. A little investigative reporting.
So I wonder if they use the same model. But, he's got his own bats.
Well, I don't know. We didn't see the one he broke. Did we see the number on the end of that one? Maybe that was a 6 or 9 as well. Little tapper to second. Barney makes the shovel. Castro the return in time for the double play. Side retired. 4-6-3 gets Samardzija through the bottom of the 7th. Now Dylan G heads back out for the 8th with a 3-1 lead. We asked what was the last time two players from the same team won the Cy Young and the MVP in the same season, and it was in '06 when Johan Santana won the Cy Young and Justin Morneau was the MVP. It's actually happened 18 different times. You know, the Cy Young did not come into being until 1956, and at first there was only one award rather than one for each league. And the first time that a team had both the MVP and the Cy Young was 1957 when the Milwaukee Braves won it all. Henry Aaron was the MVP and Warren Spahn was the Cy Young.
Did Koufax win the Cy Young when Tommy Davis was MVP?
65?
Not sure.
Or 63. 63.
60.
Right?
Well, 63 didn't.
Reed Johnson, the pinch hitter, pushes a bunt and G right on it and throws out Johnson, who had 4 hits last night, but thrown out trying to bunt in his pinch hit at bat.
Get old David on that one. Tommy Davis won the MVP, or was this the batting title? I thought he won an MVP one year. I thought he won that year. He hit what, 656 or something?
Did Koufax ever win the MVP? Because if a pitcher wins the Cy Young and the MVP, that would qualify for our conversation, right?
Dave's minded.
Here's David DeJesus. 63. Koufax won both Cy Young and MVP. DeJesus takes low for ball 1.
The Dodgers didn't go to the World Series in '63. The Dodgers didn't.
Sure, they did. They swept the Yankees that year.
That's right. Oh, that's the time when all the big strikeouts Koufax got.
And Pepitone lost the ball in the shirts at Dodger Stadium. Fly ball out to center field off the bat of DeJesus. And New and High sees over to grab it. And quickly there are 2 out for G in the 8th. This is now G's longest outing of the year. We're going to check in with the studio. Gary Apple standing by for this game break. Reggiano not much in the outfield, but he did hit a home run today. In fact, he's hit 6 now for the Marlins in less than 80 at bats. Here's Starlin Castro, who's 0 for 2. Castro is 1 for 3 today, and he takes low and away for ball 1. John Roush, Tim Burdack up in the Mets bullpen. G has gone 8 innings only once in his career, and that was last year in Pittsburgh. He does have a complete game in his career, but that was a rain-shortened game. Ike over near the stands and runs out of room. And that young man winds up with a well-deserved souvenir. G's only career complete game actually came against the Cubs at Wrigley Field last May, but that was a 6-inning rain-shortened affair. Right now he's at 102 pitches as he works in the 8th inning with 2 out. 1-1 coming to Castro, and the slider off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. By the way, talking about teams that had the MVP and the Cy Young, in 1990 it happened in both leagues. 1990 the A's had the MVP with Rickey Henderson and the Cy Young with Bob Welch. That's hit foul. And the Pirates had the MVP with Barry Bonds and the Cy Young with Doug Drabek.
Doug Drabek had the deceptive curveball, big bender. Yeah, Tommy Davis, I didn't realize it, won back-to-back batting titles, 62 and 63.
2-2 now to Castro, and it's popped up. Davis taking charge, and Dylan G has himself a 1-2-3 top of the 8th. G through 8, matching his career high, and the Mets have a 3-1 lead. East Side Girls Club expand their program. The $5,000 grant was used to create 2 new teams, opening up free access for even more girls. To find out more about their story and those of past recipients, go to sny.tv/playball. We head for the bottom of the 8th inning at Citi Field. Mets with a 3-1 lead. Dylan G threw 8. He's thrown 105 pitches. Let's see whether he gets a chance for his first 9-inning complete game of his career. Meanwhile, David Wright will lead off for the Mets against the new Cubs pitcher, left-hander Scott Maine.
Well, Scott Maine pitched in that series in Chicago on the 26th, had 2 scoreless, but it's been difficult for him. He's been sent down. Interesting choice here to bring in a left-hander against Wright with a 2-run ball game.
David, one of the best hitters in baseball against left-hand pitchers. And Maine runs it inside, 2-0. Ike Davis on deck, then Lucas Duda, which I'm sure is why Dale Swaim opted for the lefty. But first he's got to get through Wright. Bobby Parnell right now working as the closer for the Mets, getting ready. And Wright fouls it off 2-1. Frank Francisco, who will reclaim that closer's job, one would suppose, when he's ready to go, threw off the mound for the first time today and is probably a few days away from pitching in a rehab start. Inside to right, 3-1. And Wright muscles one into center field, and he's got a base hit. So David with his first hit of the afternoon. He now has a 6-game hitting streak, and the Mets looking for some insurance. Get the leadoff man on in the 8th.
Well, gets jammed, but stays level. He's been hitting the top half of the ball all year. That wasn't that level. That's belt high, but he's so strong. Got jammed a little bit, and muscles it out up the middle, and that is what he's been doing. He's been. The games he's not really wearing it out, having a big day. He just manages to get his one.
A hit and a walk for Wright today. Here's Ike Davis, who has the biggest hit in this game, a 2-run homer in the 3rd. His 12th of the year. And he takes the sidearm delivery in for a strike.
So here's Ike's home run. Hanging slider. Off the facing of the Pepsi Max sign.
One of 2 home runs Jeff Samardzija gave up today, and that's all he gave up. Double play ball. Barney with the shovel, and Castro the turn for the 4-6-3 double play. So the Cubs turn a 4-6-3 double play for the 2nd consecutive inning. 2 out and nobody on. And now Lucas Duda will come to bat. Looking ahead to the 9th inning for the Cubs, they have the heart of the batting order coming up. Rizzo, Soriano, and LaHare, left, right, left. Did not appear as though G got the congratulatory handshakes when he went in the dugout. So you have to suppose he's going to start the 9th inning with Parnell ready behind him.
Good.
105 pitches for Dylan, who has matched his career high today by going 8 innings on a hot day. Good breaking ball by Maine in this 1-0. Tomorrow afternoon, the final game before the All-Star break. John Neese goes for the Mets. Ryan Dempster comes off the DL to pitch for the Cubs. 12:30 the coverage tomorrow right here on SNY. And Duda takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 1-2.
I think Lucas is so worried about the slider from the left-hander. Seen him too consistently this homestand, taking that fastball away.
Hairston would bat for Valdespin if Duda keeps the inning going. And Duda hits one off the leg of the pitcher. Maine tries to run it down, but Duda's got an infield hit. Well, 2nd pitcher today who's been drilled by a Met shot. First it was Murphy hitting one off Samardzija's foot in the 5th. And now Maine takes the brunt of Duda's hard hit ball for another infield hit.
0-2 count. That's just too good a pitch. Nice hitting by Duda, staying in.
Maine appears to be okay after getting hit somewhere on the lower leg. Well, Scott Hairston's been announced as the pinch hitter, and so Dale Swain will go out there and bring in a right-hander to face Hairston. And so Swain makes the sign, and they'll bring in the right-hander. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Win Mets memorabilia from Verizon at Mets.com/Verizon Sweeps. 3-1 New York in the 8th. We'll be right back. All right, guys. Scott Hairston batting against the new pitcher Manny Corpus. The former Rocky throws a slider off the plate for ball 1.
Corpus had, what, 4 years with Colorado. Tommy John surgery September of 2010, missed all of 2011.
Hairston has been playing quite a bit lately. 0 for 4 in the game last night. He pulls one down to third. Valbuena playing right along the line, gets the force play to end the inning. So we head for the 9th. Dylan G hoping for a victory with the Mets up 3-1. field, and Bobby Parnell will come in to try and save it for Dylan G.
Well, Parnell has taken over the closing role for the Mets since Francisco went down with the oblique. He has one save under his belt, and that was notched back on the second game in that Los Angeles series, that 3-2 victory. He has held opponents scoreless in his last 8 outings, allowing only 1 hit, 6 strikeouts, and that's a total of 7 1/3 innings of relief. So Bobby has really pitched well.
They'll have to face the heart of the Cubs batting order, trying to protect a 2-run lead in the ninth. Rizzo, Soriano, and LaHair. Left, right, left. Dylan G, terrific this afternoon. Threw 105 pitches over 8 innings, allowed 1 run and 7 hits, did not walk a batter, struck out 4. They'll go to the All-Star break with a 4.10 ERA, and now a chance for his 6th win against 7 losses if Parnell can make it stand up. Let's see what Parnell has done against first hitters this year, and that is terrific. Always key for a relief pitcher, getting that first man out.
No fooling.
Rizzo's 1 for 3 today, singled up the middle his last time up, and taking all the way. First pitch, ball 1. By the way, I think we might have cleared up the mystery of the Ruben Tejada bats, courtesy of Brian Ernie of Mets Blog. Brian tweeted that he believes that it is indeed Omar Quintanilla's black bat that Tejada was using, that he broke earlier in the game, and another of Quintanilla's bat that he wound up using later. Your Cholula flamethrower, Parnell at 96 on that last pitch. And he throws one by Rizzo, 1-2.
Just keep it upstairs right there. Just keep it right there. Uppercut swing. That's overpowering right there.
Parnell ahead 1-2 on Rizzo. Drive to right center field. Duda's not going to get there, and that ball hits off the fence. Rizzo heads for second. Neuenhuis flings it in, and Rizzo is in with a leadoff double. Boy, has he been impressive.
Well, he's got a very quick bat, and that is a too fat a 1-2 pitch right there.
So Parnell, who had given up only 1 hit over his last 7 1/3 innings, gives up a ringing double to Rizzo.
Right down the pipe, belt tie, and boy, does that young man have a quick bat.
So now Soriano comes to bat as the tying run. Soriano 0 for 3 today. A ground out, a foul out, and a strikeout, but very dangerous at the plate, representing the tying run. 15 home runs for Soriano, all of them since the 15th of May. And Parnell throws one by him at 97.
Boy, oh boy, I'll say. He's more effective upstairs. A lot of hard throwers when they get that extra life up top.
The one save opportunity that Parnell had in Los Angeles, he was throwing harder than he had in any game this season. Maybe it was the adrenaline of the 9th inning, but he was getting it up there between 99 and 101. And the curveball sits high, 1-1 to Soriano. Something about that 9th inning.
Well, it's not over with yet.
Parnell fumbled the opportunity last year when he was given a chance to close, but appears more evolved as a pitcher this year and given another chance with Francisco out. Runs it inside, 2 balls and a strike to Soriano, with another dangerous hitter, Brian LaHair, waiting on deck. That's got all their runs and a pair of home runs. Valdespin a solo shot in the second, Davis a 2-run homer in the third, and now Parnell trying to make it stand up for Dylan G. And Soriano swinging at the high fastball, and it's 2-2.
He can't catch up to it. Just stay upstairs.
G got him out with a high fastball his last time up.
I mean, Soriano's looking for the fastball, and he just can't catch up. And only where place he's going to get hurt if it's down. If he keeps it up in the letters, he's going to be fine.
Up and in, and now a full count. Well, you saw that the first batter numbers were good for Parnell. The runners in scoring position numbers not nearly as good. Soriano batting with a runner at second and nobody out. 3-2 from Parnell. And a fly ball out to left center field, hit pretty well. Back goes Neuenhuis. He'll have room at the edge of the track to grab it. And holding at second is Rizzo. That's a long first out in the top of the ninth.
No, that's a can of Del Monte. Nicely done. Kept that fastball upstairs.
So one away. And now Brian LaHare, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Single to center back in the 5th. Struck out in each of his other 2 at bats. Sean Kemp on your left, Carlos Marmol on your right. Hoping that there's an inning to pitch for the Cubs in the bottom of the ninth. And LaHare takes a curveball for a strike.
Man, a good one.
LaHare with a double in his only at bat against Parnell. Bobby was going through a pattern a few weeks ago where he was throwing everybody a first pitch curveball. They've gotten away from that now. And he throws 2 in a row to LaHare to get ahead 0-2.
Well, Bobby's last time out, Gary, when you look at the scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts against the Phillies, that was the best breaking ball I've seen him throw all year.
It's only after that second curveball for the second strike, immediately running the ball out to Parnell, and in long conversation now.
Well, you can always just change the signs or whatever if you think someone's picking something up. I don't think that was what that was about. It's maybe a reminder, hey, you're 0-2. Remember, he had 2 strikes, I believe, on Rizzo. Did he have 2 strikes on Rizzo?
1 and 2, yeah.
1 and 2, and made a fat pitch. So, hey, let's go.
Well, he's throwing 2 curves. If he throws that fastball, he wants it up out of the strike zone. Here's the 0-2, and the fastball up and away. 1-2. Steve Clevenger, another left-hand batter, waiting on deck. This is the big man right here for Parnell. LaHare with 14 home runs this year, tying run at the plate. 1-2. Up and away again. And now it's 2-2. Two to LaHare. Breaking ball fouled off.
There's a hanger. Don't throw the get me over breaking ball. This is right there hanging. Oh, goodness.
Again, the 2-2. And another curveball, a better one, and this one LaHare fouls off.
That's an outstanding one. Got on top of it. Lucky to get a piece of it.
Well, he's thrown 6 pitches to LaHare, 4 curveballs, and 2 fastballs well out of the strike zone. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming from Parnell to LaHare. And he fouls off that high fastball.
Well, LaHare right now is just being very defensive in his at-bat. He's got 2 strikes on him, which is going to make him vulnerable inside. But if you're going to go inside, don't go down and in. You've got to keep it upstairs. I guarantee he'll tie him up.
Again, the 2-2. And he fouls off another fastball, this one at 98. Parnell trying to find the formula to get through LaHair.
Pretty good battle right here.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up. And a little flare out to shallow left center. Tejada going out, and he makes a brilliant catch. An enormous play by Ruben Tejada for the second out.
This is just right out of the Bud Harrelson playbook right here. That ball kind of tailed on. He made a little error on where it was at, and he just made a quick adjustment to his left. That is not an easy play. That is a fine play in the tough spot.
Well, nobody else was going to have a chance. It was on Tejada to get back there, and he made the adjustment to make a tremendous play to get the Cubs down to their final out.
That's as good as it gets.
Steve Clevenger is 0 for 3 today. A strikeout, a fly ball, and a ground ball. And Clevenger takes a fastball at 99 for a strike. Parnell can smell the finish now. Darwin Barney would be next. Clevenger with only one home run this year, tying run at the plate. And a fastball strike at 100.
All of a sudden, he's energized.
Why not? I think everybody in the building was after watching that Tejada play. And Parnell pumping that energy through his right arm. The Cubs are down to their final strike. Too high. And Parnell, who was throwing 96-97, now gearing it up 99 and 100 to Clevenger. One-two. And he gets a piece of that high heat.
But it's out of the strike zone. It's just a good swing on a pitch out of the strike zone. He can go down the ladder, whatever he wants to do now.
Would you drop a curveball on him, or would you? If you're
the way he's throwing, I just bring the cheddar away. You want to try to hit a home run here. Hit my fastball in the outside corner. Try to pull it out of the ballpark.
See if Parnell and Tolley are thinking the same way. Rizzo led off the inning with a double. Soriano flied out. Tejada took a base hit away from LaHair, and now Parnell one strike away. Oh, just missed. 2-2.
Close. I think it ran outside. It missed.
Parnell 24 pitches deep into this ninth inning. 2-2 to Clevenger. And that just missed.
Not by much. It did, though.
Same location. 3-2.
You like what he's doing out there, though. You're not going to hit that ball out of the ballpark.
Or anywhere else. So now after getting ahead 0-2, Parnell's gone 3-2 to the Cubs catcher. Strike three called, and the ball game is over. Parnell kept trying to dot that outside corner, the third time the charm at 101 miles an hour. Parnell, with help from Tejada, saves it for Dylan G. And the Mets win it 3-1 to even up the series with the Cubs at a game apiece.
Well, Parnell, hats off. Missed two close ones, knee high outside corner, just missed outside, and then painted on the same location to end the ball game with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Home runs today offensively. Valdespin continues to hit. His fourth home run, a solo shot in the second, gave the Mets a 1-0 lead. The next inning in the third, Tejada singles open the inning, and Ike Davis hits his 12th home run of the year, a 2-run shot. That's all the runs the Mets would need. Dylan Gieger really pitched a fine game. He deserved this win. He improves his record to 6-7 at the All-Star break.
Well, after having troubling starts the last 2 days from R.A. Dickey and Johan Santana, Dylan G took it on his shoulders today to get the Mets starting pitching back in form, and he did that, matching his career high by going 8 innings and allowing just 1 run, not walking a batter. And the Mets got all the offense they needed on a couple of home runs. There is your game summary. What's not in that game summary, that remarkable play that Ruben Tejada made in the top of the 9th inning to prevent trouble for Bobby Parnell and get him his 2nd save of the season. Parnell dialing it up to 101 to get Clevenger looking to end the ball game. And the Mets, with a 3-1 win, have now won 7 of their last 10. What a play that was by Ruben Tejada, making the adjustment, moving to his left as that ball tailed away for the 2nd out of the 9th, and the Mets go on.